Hi there, Roger Burnley here, and I am with Kenneth Ziegler today. I don't know what's going on with him right now, but let me give you a little background. He is an actor, a dancer, a singer, does all of it. He is an entertainer. And we worked together quite a while ago, and then he took off to New York for a while, and then he called me up and said, okay, there's some things going on. He was having all these really wonderful breakthroughs with his voice. I wasn't working with him on his other stuff. It was just the voice. But anyway, he said that there was something going on. I said, okay, don't tell me right now. When you get back into town, let's get together, and I want to just figure out what it is, film it on video, and maybe it'll help a lot of other people. So first of all, we're going to find out what is going on for him, and then what might be the quick fix. I like quick fixes, so we'll see. Kenneth,
right.
How are you?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good. Well, trying.
Yeah. Okay. Well, first of all, tell me what was going on for you.
Well, while I was in New York, I was doing a lot of the exercises that we had worked on before. Right. And while I was doing that and using my voice a lot, a lot of issues that I had were going away. My voice seemed to be expanding. It seemed to be growing. Mm-hmm. And then the audition season ended. I kind of quit working on my voice, mm-hmm. and it kind of went back to -10 instead of going back to 0. Mm-hmm. It actually regressed a little more. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it's kind of dry, kind of burny, and there's a definite wall that I hit when I try to sing. There's a mm-hmm. ceiling that I can't mm-hmm. seem to get through, and it gets tight, and then it cracks, and I sound like a prepubescent teen.
Okay. Good, I love that. Okay, let me talk about that for everybody else. I'm so glad that he brought this up. Number one, when I first started working with Kenneth, we were changing some habits, some techniques, some things that he had been doing for quite a while. Now, when you do that, it takes a while for the new habits, the new techniques to become very natural, to become very habitual. Then what happens is, and it can happen in two different ways. Sometimes if I've been working, I didn't work with Kenneth that long because, before he had to take off to go to New York. But if I've worked with a client long enough, typically what will happen is that if they then do take a break, then miraculously, some of the old habits that they had just start to fall away. And then when they go back to singing, it's like the new stuff that we've been working on has taken hold. We didn't have that opportunity because we didn't work that long. So for him, he's in New York, he's doing a lot of auditions, he's working really hard. And so what's going to happen is your voice, your body is going to revert to what it knew before, especially if you've taken a break, and if you go back to it again and try to do something, it doesn't know anything else. It's kind of forgotten the new stuff, but that's all that's happening. The good news is it never goes back completely to where you think it has gone back before, and that's what I want to show you. Again, so now tell me a little bit about what it's felt like when you were singing.
Recently?
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah.
For a long story short, it's gotten very, very tight, mm-hmm. very tight, and my range has just disappeared. There is no top end, and my break seems to have dropped.
So what I'm going to do is take you through a lip trill. I just want to see what's happening in terms of the way that you're producing sound. Now, just that alone will tell me a lot. So let me just see what's happening. Okay. So put your hands here. Right. Great. Okay, now we're going to change this. What's going on for Kenneth? He's right. He has gone back to a little bit of what used to go on before. Before he was so used to, and this was causing him trouble in cutting off his range and pinching his sound a bit, is that he would have a habit of just kind of pushing into everything. You can see the outside muscles in his neck starting to tense up a little bit. So what I'm going to do is start to reverse that. What I want you to do is put your hands here. Now you're going to do this. You're going to put your hands lower, actually.
Okay.
And you're going to push up that way.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to feel anything in the back of your head. Now, what we've got to do is start reversing the way you think about hitting these notes.
Okay.
You're going to think, I want you to feel this release first. and you're
Okay.
going to go down into
Okay.
these notes rather than any part of you feeling like you're going up for them. Okay, does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's try that. And and the reason I have you push lower because it's easier to then not let it fall back in your
Okay.
throat. Okay. Full from down here up, down. Right. Now really exaggerate. Starting up here. Right. That's good. That's good. That makes sense. What you're feeling that. The other thing that I was doing is that every time you started, I was exaggerating where you're starting.
Okay.
When you start to have, when you start to go back into the habit of things kind of falling back in your throat a little bit too much again, and then starting to tighten that way, you'll invariably start to just shove in there. So what I'm
Right.
having you think the thinking down reverses all of that. Now, tongue trill.
Right.
You'll feel where this has been going on because the same thing is starting to creep
Right.
in again. I'd do that. There. Now you feel how it was freer because you started up here. And now you're going to start up there and you're just going to come down into it. Again. And the reason I'm exaggerating where you would start is because
Okay.
you would start a little bit back here.
Okay.
I need you to start way up. So I've got to exaggerate it right now to
Okay.
get you back to the other side. Let me go back here. Okay, now try it on the tongue trill. Really kind of exaggerate your face too. Right. Starting up here down. A little better.
Yeah.
You could feel that.
Yeah.
Put your hands here.
Okay.
Ah.
Ah.
Now, right there, what you did on that last note is that you started to go up into it. And I want you to reverse that. I want you to pull it down. And you know, the stuff that you're doing, I mean, you're doing all this Broadway stuff and you're really out there. And most
Right.
times you're trying to project and all
Right.
of that. And this is what I mean. Your body would revert back to the old way,
Right.
right? So what we're going to do is get you to still feel that you can create that power that you were trying to create on stage without pushing into it. Ah, try that. Put your hands here though. Ah, down.
Ah.
There.
Yeah.
You feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now let's try it here. Start way up here down. Great, that was good. Okay, now I'm going to add something else to that. But you feel already how there was more sound coming through. Now, another thing that I want to throw in here is that a lot of times when you've had the trouble of kind of pushing and tightening or using these swallowing muscles a lot, what will happen is that you will have your tongue just slightly go back in your your
Yes.
throat just a little bit too much. You felt that, right? And it blocks your sound. Now, and especially depending on the kind of music you're doing, and opera singers and more legitimate people, singers, or musical theater may have a bit more of a tendency to do this. But for right now, what I'm going to do is exaggerate this for him because I just want him to feel the openness of it. Where you're keeping your tongue down. Try it again. Right, and see, and then again on those higher notes, you're just pulling them down.
Right.
Okay. Let me go back to the beginning of that. Just do a little bit more of it.
No, I'm embarrassed.
You see that though?
Yeah.
You see what you got? You're healed. What happened was, what I was doing there, what I was doing there, just so everybody else understands this too, and you felt it because you were following me, I was prompting him with the first note. When you fall into certain habits, especially the one where you're tightening and kind of pushing, your tone production will always start from a lower place than where it needs to be, and that will cause you to feel more blocked. So what I was doing with Kenneth was every time he started, I gave him the position, I'm starting it higher,
Right.
and you were feeling that.
Yeah.
And that's why you got it.
Okay.
How did it feel?
It felt good. It sounds funny to me.
I
So
know, because you're used to experiencing it in a different place
Right.
in your head. Can you think of something that you were singing where you were really having trouble?
Right now, no, because I generally stuck with songs that worked really well. That songs I was working on that I never used for auditions. There was one from the Full Monty. I guess "Breeze Off the River."
Okay,
I don't know how much I remember
sing a
the
little
words.
bit? It doesn't matter. I just need a couple lines. I just need to see where your production is.
Okay.
Well,
I'll do the song that I was singing before,
Okay.
so you can. It's the Only Home I Know from Shenandoah.
right.
The memories I left behind may all have turned to dust. A penny in a wishing well, copper burned to rust.
Right, now hang on. Now, what I'm going to do with Kenneth, I'm going to change one thing. Again, he's been going at this for a while now, and so things will just continually get tighter. I'm going to give him an exaggerated feeling of openness so he won't have quite as much of that tendency to kind of push into things. What are the first words?
The memories I left
the
behind.
the memory. Is that the right?
Yeah.
was
The
that-
memories I
the
left behind.
I'm pulling it
Okay.
down and open. The memories I've left.
Okay. The memories I've left behind may all have turned to dust.
Great. Now put your hands here because now you'll start to let it. You'll trust it more. The memories I've left behind.
The memories I've left behind may all have turned to dust. A penny in a wishing well, copper burned to rust.
All right.
Yeah.
You feel that? Mm-hmm. Now on the rust, do it again because I want you
Okay.
to also feel rust. You're gonna let go of that. You've been hanging on to it.
Yes.
That over time creates this tension that you will continually keep pushing. Rust. You can let it
Okay.
go. Do it again. Whole thing. The memories I've
left behind may all have turned to dust. A penny in a wishing well, copper burned to rust.
there.
Okay.
You feel that?
Okay.
Is it making sense?
Yep.
And could you hear the difference in your tone?
Yes. Yes.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
And the only thing, Tell us what happened for you the first time we worked together, though.
Breakthrough after breakthrough. It was really nice. There was as we worked through things, light bulbs went off time after time.
Right.
The more exercises we did, I just things opened up
Right.
more, and I was able to hear differently.
Right.
I don't know if that's what you're asking.
No,
but-
that is exactly what
Okay.
I'm asking. But the other thing is, you have not reverted back as far as you thought
Okay.
you had.
Okay.
You know, because you got that, what I just gave you, very quickly.
Right.
And if you remember, in the beginning, it took a while
Right.
for you to get that.
Right.
Does that make you
Yeah.
remember?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So
falling back.
it's yeah,
Good.
and that's all it is. It's just a matter of like, okay, well, let's go back to the new way now. And again, like I said, Kenneth has been in New York. He's been going through a lot of auditions. He's been doing a lot of work there. And so when you don't have time, when you're going through that kind of a schedule to keep everything in place, then the old stuff will come back a bit. But the thing is, once you start working with this technique, you will never go back to quite as far as where you were, it will feel to you that way because you also remember, wait a minute, I was in this great place and I made all of this progress. But again, that we just showed us with Kenneth, he wasn't as far gone as what he thought. It's just we got to just reintroduce certain concepts, and with a little practice, you'll be good as new. It'll be great.
I'll be perfect because
You'll be
practice
perfect.
makes
Perfect. You'll be perfect.
fair enough.
Great.
Fair enough.
Well, thank you.
No, thank
This was
you.
great.
I appreciate
Okay.
it.
You're welcome. Okay.